It's Jennifer Quick. Hold on, I'm going to stop this for a second because it's really slow. Take that off. I'm not sure why I'm having delayed filming. I haven't come across this yet. Okay, well, I'm going to carry on and hopefully this video is okay and it works out. Hi, I'm Jennifer Quick with Soul Clarity Coaching, and welcome. So perfect beginning to this because my very first announcement that I'm going to make is that I am no longer going to be streaming across all the different social media platforms. I'm only going to go live on YouTube. And I will put replays up in a number of different areas. I'm also on Rumble, and I will be putting this post in my community group as well. So people, if they want to join that, they can follow along there. So today's video, so I'm going to start doing that. And I'm also going to change the name of this. So up until now, I've been calling it Soul Chat. And that was originally, I was supposed to be doing this with a partnership, but that just didn't work out so well. And then I was going to, actually originally I was doing interviews back during COVID. And anyhow, none of the stuff has really worked out. So I'm letting it go because I'll talk more about that later, but that's a big thing to do right now is to let go of things that don't work. So I'm letting that go. Soul Chat, no longer. This is going to be Soul Clarity Coaching Corner. And the point being that I come on once a week and I talk about the energies that are going on. I talk about the different beings that I channel with and what their messages are for the week. I talk about some of the ascension systems that we're going through and the changes that are happening. And I give you my insight, take it or leave it, whatever vibes with you, doesn't vibe with you, but I will give you my insight as to how to best navigate through the times that we're going through. And that's kind of where this is going to go. I do upload videos every week. I make a point of uploading every week. As a matter of fact, this week, I dropped 3 brand new ones as of today. And they are part of a series that I'm working on that'll be more coming out, and they're called Dimensions. It's part 1, 2, and 3 of Dimensions. And in those videos, I explain all the different dimensions of our conscious awakening. So the first 3 videos that are up right now, one leads into the next. They go a little deeper, try and give you a little bit more clarity as to what these different dimensions mean. What does it mean to be in 3rd dimension, 4th dimension, 5th dimension, 6th, 7th? How does this all work together? I go right from the beginning and go through it and go deeper in each video so that by the end of the 3rd one, you have a little more clarity as to what it means. Well, each one of them will give you more clarity. It was what it means to be going through this awakening of humanity that's happening right now. Okay, so please, I hope you enjoy them. Give me some feedback on it. Love to hear from you. That's all on my YouTube channel I think it's at Jennifer Quick Soul Clarity, and you can find me and check out those videos. They're really good. I've got more coming that will be furthering along in that series. I know I have one that I'll be launching probably next week that is going further into the 4th dimension and some of the different things that are in the 4th dimension and how they affect us. So it'll be digging deeper into social programs, collective paradigms, all sorts of different things. Paranormal, I touch on that as well. So please, hopefully you guys follow along with that. Today, I want to get into it today. So today there's a fair bit I want to cover. So I want to talk about the ascension symptoms that we're going through right now, and maybe give you a few tips to try and help navigate through them. First of all, let you know you're not alone. There's a lot of us going through this. Actually, all of humanity is going through this. But anyhow, we'll talk about that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the full moon, which is tonight, in Libra. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, how that's affecting us, and how you can make the most of the energies that come through on the full moon. Okay, so I'll talk about that. I'm going to give you a little update on the shadow government and what's kind of happening. I'm going to actually talk a little bit about, I think, the Ohio train derailment, and just sort of how to navigate a little bit with that. there's some interesting, we're in such interesting times, and the solar flares and how they're affecting us. So anyhow, I'll get into a little bit more of that. And as well, how to help you navigate through it. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Please subscribe to my channel, like my video, please share it and get the word out. We're all in this together. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay. So I don't know about you, but a lot of people that I've been working with, as well as just my friends and family that I know, coworkers, that type of thing that I work with, like I call other healers my coworkers, other light workers and stuff that I talk to, we've all been feeling this strange, this energy that's been going on. And it's been going on for quite a few weeks now. There has been a sense of extreme exhaustion, okay? Like being able to nap for hours on end, like lie down for a quick little rest and boom, you're out for 2 hours, okay? And just really feeling tired, not feeling like you want to be a part of anything, feeling that withdrawal from everything. There's an energy of feeling depressed or suppressed. As well, what goes with that is a sense that you're waiting for something, you're on hold, just like there's this giant pause that has happened. Okay, that's some of the feelings people are having. There's also been a time warping happening as well. If 1 minute you'll feel like time is going super fast, and then another minute it'll just feel like it's oh so slow and nothing's changing, and there's just this stall, right? And it's like it's jumping back and forth between both of those. So it's a time warping that's happening. And I'll go into more of why that's happening in a minute. There's also a lot of feelings around being lonely and disconnected, particularly this week. And that's because of the Libra Moon. And we'll talk more about that in a minute too. And finally, a lack of motivation. And I really hit that one. I just felt like I hit a cement wall where I had like one of those crisis moments, like, what am I doing with my life? Have I lost my mind? Is this maybe I should just go and turn this all off and go get a regular everyday job at the local store or something like that. Like I just had no motivation to do what my passion was. And to the point actually where I started drawing back and looking, well, maybe I should resurrect this part of my business. Maybe I should go back and do some of this business. And I actually even pulled out and started looking at different directions. And I'm like, at one point I finally went, wait a minute. I love this. It was a great, joyous part of my life, but it's not where I resonate anymore. So it doesn't sit with me. I need to keep moving forward. And it was a real step back. So a lot of other people are feeling that too, where there's just a lack of motivation on progressing forward. And as I've talked about a lot, this year is the year of miracles. All right. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, it is the year of miracles. The most amazing manifesting energy is happening right now. So, and I've been all year, I've been like, take advantage of that, like work with the energies, work with what's happening, keep your vision, sharpen your vision, move forward, take action, step out of your comfort zone. And really it's about be aware of your vibration, and is it in alignment with what the vision, have a vision of the kind of world you want to live in. This is really, really, really important. Capturing back our imagination, right? And I've talked about that before. So this is all a part of that. And now, where was I saying with that? So this year of motive. So all that motivation that was happening in January and February and everything, and then all of a sudden, boom, it came to a stop, and it was like, I don't feel motivated at all. And I felt, myself and others really felt stalled, uninterested. I even said one day, I said to my husband, like, I would be depressed if I had the energy to be depressed. Like I'd have to lift up to hit depressed. It was just crazy. Like, and there was situations that normally I'd kind of be like, ooh, or, a little edgy about or anything else. I'm like, I don't care. I just don't care. I just haven't got the energy in me to rise up to any occasion. It was a real struggle. And everybody I talked to was like that. So if you're feeling that way, just know you are not alone. There is nothing wrong with you. Lots of us are going through this, and I'm going to explain to you. So when I went in and I spoke up to, so I channel with my guides. I also channel with the Galactic Federation. I'm making stronger and stronger contact with that every day. And there is actually an Arcturian as well as another Nordic that I've been working with in bringing those energies through. And they are very, very much working with the helping humanity in the ascension. So more on that in another video, but that's where I go. And so I went up and I asked, like, what is happening with this energy and everything else that's been going on? Why are we feeling this way? Why is there such a collective slowdown? And they kind of showed me a couple reasons. The first thing they showed me is like this elastic band. And I've talked about this before as well, where we have this stretch that's happening. And that's actually what I talk about with my website and everything. I talk about the gap between knowing ourselves spiritually and then holding our human form. Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's like a rubber band that's been stretched. So we grow our expansion. So January and February saw a lot of movement towards what do we want to envision? What do we want to bring into our life? A lot of new energy, a lot of new thoughts and things like that. Awareness opening up. There was quite a bit of spiritual growth and vision happening. Then it's like and we stretched, and now it's sort of like the band is contracted, and it's not that we are restricting. It's actually that we are downloading and amalgamating the information into our physical body. So this is really, you're so tired because literally your body is being upgraded. The cells, the energy flow, the DNA, the little antennas I've talked about before that, in epigenetics that assigns to different, assigns to our emotions and our thoughts and stuff like that. All that is shifting. It's all shifting and upgrading in our system. We're amalgamating all that spiritual growth we've been going through. And with the solar flares, so when solar flares from the sun come off, they bring with them, and I'm not a scientist, okay, so take this and leave this as however you want. That's all my stuff. This is for entertainment, okay? I'm not a scientist, so take it for what you want. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, leave it. But the solar flares, they send off a radiation, a pulse of energy that hits the earth, and it hits our magnetic body as well as the earth's magnetic body. And it's like it pumps into the frequency of the planet and increases it, expands it, right? So, and it has a biology effect that science can actually explain in quantum physics. And maybe if I could find that articles again, then it'd kind of help. I'll try and do that at some point. But there is an actual physical upgrade that is happening from these solar flares. So it's not just that there's solar flares, so consciously we're waking up. It actually hits us biologically. And so April has seen a lot of solar flares. And as a matter of fact, carrying on at the end of March, particularly, they were really, really hard, like really high solar flare energy that hit us. This is going to continue through April as well. And so it's really hitting our biology and upgrading our biology to match with our spiritual conscious awakening. So that is why you're so tired. It is also that stretched energy and everything that is, and really working heavy. So what they keep showing me is that it's working really, really heavy with our root and our sacral. And now I say that, and then people go, well, there's nothing wrong here. And they start questioning that because it's not necessarily the typical identity we put to the root and the sacral chakras. This is actually, it's almost like the root and the sacral chakra is being disconnected and reconnected. to something new, to a new frequency, a new vibration at a higher rate. So this is where we've had this lack of motivation, this plateau, this disinterest, this waiting for something new. That's all part of this disconnect and then reconnecting. I know myself, whenever my root is offline, I can always tell because my house starts falling apart. My office stacks up with just stuff, right? Everything gets out of order and out of sync, and the balance and harmony of my home physically goes off. All right. I talk about this a lot when I teach people about the chakra system, but when your root chakra is off, so if you've ever been through a time in your life where you just can't seem to get the house clean, can't stay on top of the dishes, just can't seem to, those basic foundations of living can't seem to come together. Now, you can put 3 hours into cleaning the house, and within 24 hours, it's a nightmare. It's a total mess again. Okay. Take the time out, balance your root chakra, and boom, within 24 hours, your house will be clean. And I have done this over and over and over and over and over again. It's amazing how well this works. Okay. It's a root chakra. It's a physical representation of the root chakra. Well, for me, that's exactly what's been going on. Right. But I was so tired. I kind of wasn't even cluing in. I didn't even care. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Right. And so I went in and I did some balancing work with my root chakra and my sacral, because that's the other thing. A lot of people are feeling disconnected and they're feeling lonely. So they're feeling disconnected from their partners. Whether you're in a marriage or you're not, there's a loneliness. And again, part of that comes from this upgrade that's happening in the sacral chakra. Another aspect of that is actually tying into the moon. And I'm going to go a little more into that. But this moon is a lot about our self-identity within our relationships. And so leading up to it, if you've had this disconnect from your partner happening within the last week or so, it's most likely because of the moon's effect. Okay, so these are some of the things that are going on. And that sense of loneliness that a lot of people have right now, it is that disconnection of the sacral. It will come on back line, but it also, to revive your sacral, your relationships need to upgrade. And so that's something we need to start looking at and harmonizing with. And again, that's what the Libra Moon is all about. So maybe I'll just go into the Libra Moon now. Let's talk a little bit about that. Let me just talk, hold on one second. Let me just see if I mentioned what I wanted to about the ascension symptoms, because I made notes this time, right? Extreme fatigue, depression, suppression. That's it's almost like there's been an energy blanket pushing everything down to everything ground to a halt. Also, a lot of the time thing has been, timelines are very collision right now. And so it's like people, sometimes when you go out and you talk to public or other people in the world, it's like you're not living in the same world. You'll say that this happened and somebody else will, no, it didn't. And you'll say, but we talked about this. And they're like, no, we didn't. Or they'll say, remember I told you this? And you're like, no, I don't remember that. Remember when we did this? Nope, I don't remember that. Did you hear about this? Nope, I have no recognition of that whatsoever. And it almost feels like the world is gaslighting you. It's like what you know to be true, other people are saying something different happened. This is glitches. This is because of the timeline shifting. We're kind of playing around with numbers of different timelines and where we fit. And in each moment, it's our vibrational shifting that's happening. So it's like 1 minute we're tuned into this frequency, and then an hour later, we're tuned into a different frequency. And each frequency comes with different experiences. And that's what I mean by timeline shifting. It's shifting through these frequencies. And that's what happens as our vibration moves up. And as we move and become closer and closer to what it is that we want to create. So that is happening in mass, and it has been for a number of years now, but it's particularly really glitchy right now, really showing it right now. There's a lot of timeline conversions happening. A lot of them, they're very close together. So if you're experiencing that, that's what that is. That's also the explanation as to why sometimes time seems really fast and other times it seems really slow. All right, that's part of it. It's you adjusting the frequency and your vibration and harmonizing that with other people in the world, because everybody's doing this. So everybody's kind of moving around, and it can really feel like you're being gaslit. I really feel this if I turn on the news. If I turn on the news or I talk to somebody who is very in touch with the mainstream media, it's like they live in a completely different world from me. And the way they observe things, the way they interpret things, what they come into awareness with, and I'm like, it's like being gaslit, because what I knew is true, they're going, well, no, right? And so there's this conflict. It's very strange, very, very strange. But again, it's all about us surfing around these vibrations and frequencies. With all those solar flares hitting us, it really, really shows that different, because your vibration is constantly moving up, vibrating a little faster, a little slower, and it's going up and down. Meanwhile, it's going frequency, and that's what it works. Anyhow, watch my dimensions video and it might make a little more sense. And I'll be going deeper into frequency and vibration and stuff too in other videos along that series. So that's where this lack of motivation and everything, it's the disconnect and the replugging in. Now, when your system is being replugged in, that's what I was saying is hold on. Okay, so if you want to, so one of the best ways to move through this lack of motivation, this depression, if you're still suffering with that, balancing your root and sacral chakra. So root chakra vibrates to the color of red. It's all about connecting with the earth, connecting with the forest, connecting with your resources, standing confident in what you know, taking an assessment of what you know. Those type of things will really help. Sacral is about, in particular in this, because you're disconnected, your sacral needs to be balanced by the relationship you're having with yourself. And so there may be self issues coming up, and that also matches the Aries sun sign that we're in right now is all about self, right? It's self-centered, but not in that way. Self-identity. So some of that, so really assessing what your self-identity is, how you are showing up in relationships and versus how you want to be showing up, and how your relationship is with yourself. All right. So really a lot of alone time, a lot of internal inspection, inner reflection, that kind of stuff. I even had a few jumps where I did a bit of inner child work. That'll really help. And of course, always Reiki. I always recommend Reiki. It's so powerful. I love it. It's been a passion of mine for a very, very long time now. It was a life changer, game changer in my development. It is incredible. There's a lot of misconceptions around Reiki right now, but Reiki, get a good practitioner, or if you know how to do Reiki yourself, a lot of self-treatment right now. Okay. Or find a good Reiki practitioner. So get some recommendations or go to one of the organizations like the Canadian Reiki Association or the International Reiki Association. Look for some really well-established, good quality. Trust your gut instinct as to who you're attracted to. Okay. But getting a Reiki session is a pretty big one right now, or doing self-Reiki. That will help with these ascension symptoms. All right. So now moving on to the moon, the Libra moon. So the full moon is tonight. And depending where you are, Pacific Coast, it's like 9:34 in the evening, I believe. And on the East Coast of North America, it is, I think it's at 12:34. So technically it's on the 6th, whereas Pacific, it's on the 5th. And if you lie somewhere in between there, you'll have to look it up yourself because I don't know what it is. So anyhow, it's tonight. Now, the full moon is, in general, the full moon is a time for having an appreciation of what you have accomplished to point. So having having an appreciation. Thank you for the lesson. I'm so grateful that I've achieved this in my plan for the month. I'm grateful, having a lot of gratitude for where you are in life, right? The people that are in your life, the circumstances in your life. And it could be like, I'm just grateful to wake up breathing. I'm just grateful for the food on my table, or I'm grateful for my loved ones. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for whatever, right? Like there's everybody always has something they can be grateful for. And it's really about having the focus on that, as well as acknowledging, what you've been through in the last month, really since the last full moon. What did you accomplish? What did you put closure to? What did you heal? What have you gotten insight? Like, how have you grown as a person? It's a really good time to reflect on that. Okay. So that's just the full moon in general. And I always recommend doing some journaling. What are you grateful for? What are you wanting to let go? Because as part of being grateful, sometimes you can be thankful for things that you want to let go in your life. It's like, thank you for the experience. I have learned so much, right? Like, keep the lesson and get rid of the trauma and drama. Say thank you for the experience. I no longer need the experience, and I release you. I release these obstacles from my life. So it can be a releasing of obstacles. And I really do like the idea of journaling it. I personally like to write it down on a piece of paper. Sometimes I full on journal. Sometimes I'm just a point form so that I get a concept down, because again, it's always intention. And when you put intention into an action like journaling, it brings it just a little bit more grounded. And then I like to have lots of fires in my backyard. And so I'll have a fire in my backyard tonight, and I will burn that paper and send it to the ethers. Okay, so that's just my general full moon thing that I always recommend. Now, the full moon, this one falls in Libra. So we're in the Aries sun and we're in the Libra full moon. Libra is all about the balance and the harmonizing. It's also about relationship, right? It's about coming together, partnerships. All right. So what has been leading up to this? There may have been a lot of stuff coming up in your personal relationships or in partnerships or friendship groups or coworker groups, like interactions with other people. There may have been quite a lot of unresolved issues coming to the surface. Sometimes they are blowouts in relationships, and sometimes they are simply wounds, inner wounds that you received that have come to the surface that just need a little more healing and a little more release. And I encourage you to dive in and release that in your journal that you're going to release to the moon tonight. Okay. But that's what Libra does. It puts a highlight, a spotlight on your partnerships, your relationships. Now, with the Aries is very much independence and self-directed. Okay. So it's about self-identity. So what is your self-identity within your relationships? How do you conduct yourself? What do you need to forgive about yourself in a relationship? What end of a toxic relationship are you upholding? Why are you holding on to it? Let go of it, right? Take the lesson, remove the trauma, drama, let it go. This is it was what the Libra moon reveals. So, and it's a lot about reflecting, because the full moon is also about reflecting. Right? So reflecting back. And now it's always so reflecting back to the sun sign, Libra. So back to September. What has happened in your relationships since September? Now, when I do that, I'm like, oh, big insights come. The last 6 months for me has been a lot of clearing out my need for and recognizing where I fit in and where I don't fit in, and recognizing and trusting and following in my intuition. So when I know that a relationship has run its course, stop making the excuses and the acceptance of bad behavior and mistreatment by going, oh, they're just going through something. When really, if I had been paying attention to my inner self and my inner needs and my intuition, I would have known that this relationship had run its course. This group facility, this group issue I was with, run its course, and I would have been, thank you for the experience, and moved on before other things came up and made it kind of a slap in the face. You're right, not where I want to be, move on. And so there's a lot of reflection about, why am I trying to fit into a relationship that really doesn't fit, or that I've really outgrown. And in doing that process, I personally came to a lot of confidence in who I was. I also, during this time period, really started to build stronger relations with other light beings that are like the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the Nordics, which are a version of the Pleiadians. I really started connecting and building relationships in that side of it a lot more than I had in the past, which has been very, very interesting. At least to me it is, and very much growing. So ask yourself, what has the last 6 months taught you about relationships and about you in relationships, about the things that you participate in, the times, when you show up, how do you show up? Do you, ask yourself, if you're going into, here's like, this happens a lot to people, is you go out to an evening out at the pub with the old high school buddies, right? And you go and you have this evening, it's nostalgic. These are my old friends. I'm going to go hang out and everything else. And what you find is that you're not showing up in this situation as yourself. You're reverting back to who you used to be, that they see you as, and it's very out of resonance with who you are. Okay. Star seeds, which are most of you who watch me and connect with me, you're most likely a star seed. I can pretty much guarantee you're a star seed. You're one of the light beings that have come here to help the evolution happen, right? Star seeds are infamously famous for having a lot of relationship transitions. It's because they do so much experiencing and growth of personal development that they really outgrow their social situations a lot. Okay. So 5 years ago, 2 years ago, you may have resonated really well in this group, but now you don't. And really start recognizing, because it can happen fast. Like last month, this group felt great. Now the idea of being with this group feels so wrong. It's exhausting. It makes me kind of nauseous. It makes me, when I'm in their presence, I don't feel comfortable as me. And you want to stand in your authenticity of who you are so much right now. It's Aries, especially the solar flares that are hitting us, the year of miracles, right? The manifesting of miracles, that's this year. You really want to be aware of how you're resonating. What is your vibration? What is your authenticity that you're standing in? Okay. So it may be a time to let go of relationships, and do so before the energies shift and make it end in an ugly way that causes more drama and trauma, right? That you then have to heal and work through. How about just recognizing I've moved on and I don't resonate there anymore? So I'm just going to reduce my contact with them, and I'm going to enjoy myself in other areas. That's a lot of what the Libra Moon brings to light right now. It also brings out a lot of inner child work. Okay, so deep buried wounds about relationships. These are especially for married couples that are in that committed committed relationship, it can really bring out some of the childhood programming that you had for what a marriage is. And those are really being tested. And you've got to ask, is it working for me or not working for me? Because our relationships really need to level up. We need to let go of the lower vibration of survival and what, works, it's good enough, that kind of stuff, and move into harmonizing our energy and moving forward as, individuals and a team collective. So it's a really evolution to our relationships. And again, I start with that dimension series I've been talking about, because I will be getting into more about our relationships and stuff as well. So, but that's what the Libra Moon is all about. All right. Now, if you guys have any questions on that, please send me messages and, put a comment on the video. Again, I am not going to be doing this across all the social medias anymore. It's causing too many problems for me. I'm getting too frustrated with it, and social media is making me insane. I actually got, I don't know, penalized on Facebook or something like that. Seriously, I got all my traffic just dropped. Everything just dropped on me here in February, all because I posted an old picture talking about taking a plot of land and turning it into a food forest, and it got censored as being propaganda. And all my traffic and everything was gone. All my momentum was like gone. And I just so fed up with this. So I am putting my videos on YouTube. I have not been censored on YouTube yet. Everything I put on YouTube is also on Rumble. And I'm transferring things over to my own platform as well. So, and that should be available soon. Yeah, real soon. So anyhow, like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel. There's new videos every week, everything. Okay, so now this last section of this video tonight that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to dig into the shadow government, the cabal, the 1%. I don't talk a lot about this. And again, this is another reason why I'm starting to pull away from the different social medias, is because I am looking for a space that I can speak a little bit more openly and freely about what is really going on. So I should be okay in this video because I'm pretty far into it, and just the way sensors work, this should be okay. But what I want to talk about is we have to look and watch with a lot of discernment. We have to, again, what we focus on is what we're creating. Remember, mainstream media, our movies, media, our TV screens, like all of that stuff coming at us has been captivating our imaginations, hijacking our imaginations to create their world. And what their world is about is extreme power. Okay, they want power. It's not just money, it's power. Money is a symbol of power. When they collect it, it's a symbol, but it's power. They want to control everything. All right. And that's what they're putting into place, is control mechanisms. And what they do is they try and pit us against each other. So if everybody, a majority of the world is fighting amongst themselves, I'm a left politician, I'm a right politician, I'm this color, that color, from this country, that country, I'm, whatever it is, I don't care. If it's causing the sense of me versus you, it is wrong. And it is not where you want to be. And it's a hijacking of your brain. It's a hijacking of your imagination, because it is through the imagination that we actually create the world. So when you're watching the world and all these things come into awareness, and you're hearing a lot of the news items that come out, because it's pretty hard to avoid, right? Like everybody heard about the Ohio train wreck. Why did that happen? So let's dig into that. Why did that happen? All right, 2 reasons. One, at the time that happened, it was a huge news article. It was across everything, and it was the dominant story, right? Meanwhile, they were passing bills through parliaments that were taking away your rights. They were about censorship. They were about our finances. There was changes happening, and it was a distraction, so you didn't notice them. And that, so the protesters, the people that are watching, that weren't getting any views. Nobody was hearing them. It overshadowed everything. Okay. So as soon as you see something like a story like that, that is just taking all the attention, quickly look away and look and see what is happening in Parliament. What are the politicians doing? What is the control doing? What is really happening? Okay. Sometimes it's truth coming out, like the US involvement with the bombing of the pipeline. Okay, big distraction from that. Don't want to put too much attention over here and have people really sink in what it means that the US bombed the pipeline that caused it. They don't want us to realize that. And so they do these distractions. So as soon as you see a distraction, take a look around and see what else is happening. What are they trying to distract you from? And being aware of that. Okay, so that's an Ohio train wreck was a big one for that. The second issue that came out of that is the amount of toxins that came out into the air, and it spread hugely around the world. Okay, it was adding a ton of toxins into not only the water and the food and the animals and the sickness and the people and everything that happened in the Ohio area and around that were directly affected from it. It went into the atmosphere and dispersed. All of our water and all of our food has been contaminated by that Ohio train incident. And that is part of what this elite group, this shadow government, is doing. They are hijacking our biology by making our water and our food and our environments toxic. All right, awareness is everything. We're aware of it. Right? Support that which is not doing it. Be aware of your waters. Get a water filter, right? Grow your own food. Make sure you're buying quality food because it's even more toxic than it used to be. There's more poisons in our food, and that toxins get into our system and it bungs up our system and how we relate with the world, and it's more suppression and control. Right? And again, the dimensions video kind of explains a little more of that, and I'm going to be doing more in that series explaining how that's actually working. So we want to break out of that. So you want to cleanse your body as much as possible, right? You want to look into the detoxing methods and everything. I don't want to go into that because I'm not a medical person. I highly recommend that so Western medical, the Western education, actually pretty much all education, our health system, which is a little different than Western medicine, but it's tied together, obviously, our politics, all of those have been hijacked by this movement. So I highly advise you to start looking outside of it. Start looking at the alternative healers. Start looking for the doctors of naturopathic medicine, the acupressurists, the acupuncturists, the health advisors. Like alternative health is where you're going to get. There's obviously flaws because it's an industry like everything else, right? There's problems in it as well, but you're going to get more help there. And the first thing to do is make sure that you are being clear with the intention of what you want and asking for spirit to bring to you the healer that is right for you. Okay, and focus on, okay, Divine Spirit, I want clarity. I want to heal this. I want to detox my body, whatever it is that you want. Remove the obstacles and bring to me the method that is aligned to my highest good for my body in this life. So to do that, and then you'll see that the right person, you'll know that you find the right person in alignment for it. All right. That's my best advice, is how to navigate through it, because they all have amazing value. It's just whether it's the right thing for you. And in the future, I do see, like, start visioning what kind of world do you want to live in? If all of a sudden Okay, so some people in the conspiracy theories will know what I'm talking about. Some of you may never have heard of this, but the big solar flare, the big blast through the earth that knocks us out, and then 3 days later we wake up and we're all evolved. Okay. I never close my door. I always say that there's a room for possibility and everything, but I'm not going to live my life today based on that, hoping for that. That could happen today, tomorrow, or never. All right. Yes, there is massive solar flares coming through and in right now, and it's quite possible that could happen, but it's also quite possible that that story is actually it's happening, but it's all these solar flares are kind of inching us at a very rapid pace upwards without having to like wipe out everything in order to boost us forward. But we are in an evolution of awakening right now in our spiritual awareness and our technology awareness, right? The integration of the two. So where was I going with that? Why? Sorry, folks. Why did I bring that up? Oh, clarity of thought, clarity of intention. Oh, vision. Okay, so yes, here's an exercise. Just imagine for a moment that this happened, that there was a pulse that hit the earth, wiped out everything, all the corruption and everything else, and everybody was like 3 days of darkness, everybody blacked out and woke up on the third day to a new world. We're all spiritually evolved to that next level, and we are in the new world. What would it look like? Start thinking about what that would look like. And start imagining it. What would it look like? What would the ideal, if we all spiritually leap forward in advancement of our awareness, our spirituality, our technology, everything, right? If we just leaped forward in evolution, a giant jump, what would the world ideally look like? That's how we get back our imagination. And I highly recommend doing that. It's a really fun exercise. And it's actually a really fun exercise to do with your partner or your friends, or especially your family. So like Easter's coming up, and if you have a family gathering, pose that question and see what people start suggesting. Like, what do you think cars would look like? What do you think what kind of houses do you think we'd live in? Right? What would it be? Would we get up every day and go to work? Or what would we do? How would that, start asking these questions. You'll be amazed at what people's thoughts are. And it's really quite fun. So anyhow, that's just a suggestion. So shadow government, the Ohio was the toxic of our water. So it had that twofold. It was a distraction. There's also the collapse of the banks that are going on right now. The governments are going to come out, as it's even starting, I think, in the States, where they're really wanting to manipulate us into accepting a social credit scoring and their digital currency versus, now I really do think financially we are heading towards a digital currency, but we need to be very careful that the digital currency that we bring into this world is going to be for the people, by the people, and not controlled by a government agency. So the governments are trying to harness their own digital currency so that they can have control of it. So that's part of what these bank collapses are about. It is also, so that's that they're trying to do with it, but it's also serving the awakening of mankind, because it's pointing out to us how wrong the banking system actually is, how many people are reliant, how the infrastructure of it is not serving the people, it's serving the elite, and how it has been manipulated for quite a long time. So it always has, all these stories tend to have a twofold view of them. In one way, they're serving the awakening. In another way, it's a grab for trying to control from the shadow government. And so be aware of it, because awareness is everything, right? Because we're in the Great Awakening, which is the evolution of our consciousness to greater awareness. Check out the Dimensions video again. Okay. What What else did I cover? Everything I wanted to do today? Let me just check my notes. Hold vision to what you want. That's my final message for today. Hold your vision to what it is that you want to create for you. Okay, and it's for you. Hold a vision of a positive view of what humanity is going to evolve to the greatest ability that you can do a bigger vision like that. All right, the exercise I just talked about. But really keep focused on what it is that you want, because it's in our own individual vibrations that we affect our surroundings. And this is a movement, this is an awakening that's happening from the people, from the individuals, from people, not from power, but from people. And it's not noisy. It is each one of us standing in our light, standing in our power, and moving towards and creating the collective vision that we want. Because in the end, we all want the same thing. We want a happy family. We want food on the table, a shelter over our head that's safe, and celebrations and joy, right? We want to enjoy our families. We want to enjoy our relationships, enjoy our communities, and have safety and food on the table and be healthy and happy. Like we all want the same thing. It's just the powers, the shadow government has convinced us that we need to get it by having wars. And if I have it, that person doesn't have it. And it's always this competition, which is totally false. Totally false. We do not need to compete with each other. There's more than enough resources on this planet for all of us. So anyhow, I love you all. I hope you enjoyed my video today. And like it, share it, pass it on, subscribe. Love you. Check me out next week on YouTube, and go check out my YouTube channel at Jennifer Quick Soul Clarity. YouTube. Anyhow, love you. Bye bye.